Mm. Good morning, everybody. My name is Marcus Conti, reporting. Today is June 21 in the year 2023. Stock markets are making a break off the bottom. Stock markets are breaking off the bottom. And what about your trans kid? What about that kid of yours who you thought was a boy but thinks he's a girl? And then he thinks he's a boy again. And Big Med has no problem with any of that. And what about Hunter Biden? Was it preferential treatment? President's son cops a plea deal. No jail for high crimes and misdemeanors involving his shenanigans and tax evasion. Where are we as a people? Where are we as a people? Good morning, everybody. Marcus Conti reporting. How are you? How are you? Welcome to the stream. There's a couple of. I thought the profound story, right, in this trans kid controversy, where there's now a child, a 12-year-old girl, who fell victim to, and I will call it victimization. I will call it grooming. A 12-year-old child was groomed, medically groomed, at 12 years old because she had consent of a parent and had this wild inner notion that somehow she was a boy trapped inside of a girl's body by listening to all of the grooming propaganda, right? She was nurtured, right? According to a lawsuit that the child has filed against Big Med, against the hospital that coerced her into, she says coerced her or groomed her into a transition. Now, again, this is not an attack on people who want to self-mutilate themselves, who want to, an adult who says, you know what, I'm tired of being a man, I want to be a woman for a while, and chops off their breasts and testicles or whatever they're doing, right? They chop, and then drink a whole lot of poison to create the illusion that they are a different sex. Right? It's not to say that you shouldn't be allowed to do that. You should be allowed to do whatever you want. Where we should draw the line, right, with, I guess, most of these things is with kids. It's not that, it's not that a kid, if a kid dabbles with drugs and gets addicted, that is a social problem. I think we all agree with that. There is a genetic aspect of that where the kid is more predisposition to something like that. But what about, right? And then there's a treatment for that. There's a treatment for addiction. But nobody persuaded the kid, right, to, no medical professional came along and said, hey man, you should go out into the nightclub and smoke K and methamphetamine all night, and you'll be happier or better or more human. This is different. This is where the medical profession is stepping in and telling kids that, yeah, you're right. You are a boy trapped inside of a girl's body, and we're going to help you transition into that boy. So here's a kid that happened to, and a girl, and she transitioned. She took all of the transition. I don't know if she chopped off her chopped her junk off and installed a penis. We don't know that for sure, but we know that there was a breast operation where she, a young girl has her breasts severed, right, in surgery, and then realizes later, what the fuck am I doing? This is insane. Right? So we'll look at that fascinating story. Interestingly enough, the girl's her last name is Lovett. Right. So I think this could be a Supreme Court case. If she loses the case and it's appealed, if Big Med wins this case against the girl who's accusing them of grooming her into a trans kid, calling her a trans kid, if she wins this lawsuit, that is going to be devastatingly different for Big Med going forward, because you can't do that anymore. So this could be finally, maybe, if she fails, and this is not right away, but down the road, if she fails in court and has the right attorneys and continues to appeal up to Supreme Court, all the way to the top, she might win. And the Supreme Court might have a chance, at that point, the Supreme Court will have a chance to decide, is what Big Med is doing to children in terms of this transitioning, does it qualify as grooming? Does it qualify as child abuse? Does it qualify as other very, very bad things in that same category? Is it bad for kids? That's what I want to find out. That's what I think it is. I think that the Supreme Court, I think someone like Clarence Thomas, for example, will, I think that and I think most of the Republican Supreme Court sitters, 6-3, I think that they would vote in favor of the girl being groomed by Big Med, and that would change the game. That would change the dynamic amazingly. Now, why does Big Med want to do this? Well, to transition a kid, if you haven't heard, it used to be a lot. It used to be, in terms of money, it used to be, I don't know, the operations when they first started were $150,000 to transition a kid, to chop off all the junk. But now it seems like it's a little less. The United States is the hospital, medicine here in the U.S. Now $15,000 to $20,000 to transition a kid. Right? That's down from a couple of $100,000, but it's still $20,000 in the pocket of Big Med for doing this. So you could see the profit motive there. How many kids are they doing this to? Blindly saying, yeah. It's better to live as the other sex than to die in your own sex. That's what they're telling kids. So it's bad. It's child abuse. I can't see it any other way. We protect our kids, and even if you have parental concession, who are the parents of these kids? Usually they're confused, tranny people that look back on their life and say, man, I wish I would have done that as a kid. And I wouldn't have had all these other problems. They're projecting their own garbage on the kid. So it's a kick. It's a three-pronged kick in the balls, right? The kid sees something online, says, transition, tranny kid. I feel that. I feel it. And then he goes to mommy and daddy who agree with that, line of thinking. And that's already two. And then they take that garbage to Big Med, who co-signs the whole thing. And before you know it, it's a snowball into transitioning a 12-year-old with operations and testosterone injections and pills and poisons and psychological retraining. It's crazy. But there is a big profit motive by Big Med, and that is inescapable. Why does Big Med always want to look up a 50-year-old person's ass, aka a colonoscopy? Why do they always want to do that? What are they looking for? Well, they're looking for the I don't know, the $5,000 fee that they get, the finder's fee for going up your ass to find something that isn't there and never is, or rarely is. Or there's other ways to detect what you might be up someone's ass looking for. Look at the whole picture first, and then decide if there might be some it might be something up their ass that you might need to know. Yeah. So anyway, so good morning. So yeah, here she is. It is a she. She is a she. A young 12-year-old kid. She's 17 now. It's now 5 years later. But here's what she looks like back in her real body. I guess the female. I guess the male stuff is starting to fade. The testosterone is weakening, and unfortunately, she's not going to grow back breasts because Big Med chopped them off. And if she did the other stuff down below, where you mutilate the fucking genitalia, then it's inescapable. You are forever a mutant. Right? Now you have to live with having been a woman. Or a girl, because you're a kid, and then for a moment being a boy halfway, I guess you're not a boy. You'll always be female, always. And then now she's mutilated and bruised and beat up over sex. Now how does she find a date with a young boy who the girl now has no breasts, possibly a fucking totally reconstructed genitalia. Devastating, right? Devastating things that we're doing to kids. Right? Stop it. Do it when let people make their own fucking decision. Don't do it on kids. The kid is not, a 12-year-old kid has problems psychologically adjusting, and you're just complicating it by cutting off their junk and allowing them and grooming them in that direction. So look at that. Also, Hunter Biden, there's a mixed opinion. We'll see what our opinion is on this program. I don't know yet. It looks like Hunter Biden got a sweetheart deal regarding tax evasion and possession of a gun by a drug user. Now that's fucked up. I don't know if that's. I think that's a felony, by the way. A drug user with a gun. What qualifies as a drug user? Everybody that visits a doctor is a drug user, right? Everyone who visits a doctor on a regular basis is a drug user, right? Are they a drug abusers? Well, where's the difference? But Hunter Biden took a plea to guilty of a felony gun possession charge. I don't know. I think that should be dropped. I don't see that as a real problem. But where he got the sweetheart deal was on the tax evasion for hundreds of thousands of dollars, dealing with dada and not making hundreds of thousands of dollars, putting it in his pocket, not paying the tax. But where did the hundreds of thousands of dollars come from? Where was the money coming from? How did Hunter Biden, some jerk-off, drug-dealing art fag hanging out in the village, how did he get his hands on $100,000? Because of daddy's influence. That's the real story. The real story. And that's why Hunter Biden, he'll take the plea and there'll be no trial. There'll be no talk of it. And there'll be no jail at all if Hunter Biden takes the deal. So Hunter Biden's walking out the door, guilty. And is it a diversion from, dropping 37 felony charges on Trump's head, trying to get Trump to cop a plea? Trump is, the likelihood of Trump copping a plea, ain't going to happen unless they got a gun pointing right at his fucking head and everybody sees it. That's the only way Trump's going to plead guilty to something that is ridiculous, right? Really, is somebody pointing a gun at his head, tax evasion and such. So fascinating times we live in. It was something else. Oh yeah, they found a bang. They heard a banging sound down by the Titanic. You heard? A bunch of tourists, very wealthy tourists, wanted to take a trip down to see the wreckage of the Titanic, and in that process, their submarine got fucking lost and sunk. It looks like to the bottom of the ocean, but they're able to hear a bang. There's at least one smart person on the boat that knows what they're doing, the driver or whatever. So they're pinging, they're banging. That's all they got, right? They're pinging at the bottom every 30 minutes, maybe a message, Morse code, some kind of human, something that says a human is doing this. So they've detected a ping and sounds at the site where they think they lost the submarine, and that's an indication that they're all still alive, or some of them are still alive, or at least one of them is still alive. 4 or 5 people down there, they're gonna fucking die if nobody gets them out of there. The oxygen runs out in 4 days. They'll be dead. They just sit there and they wait, and they all hold hands and fucking, you know, and wait and for their last breath. What a way to go, you know. So anyway, Mark Sconti reporting. This is my website, Video Philosopher. We philosophize every morning, educationally and philosophically, at 9 a.m. live in front of a live studio audience. Recorded, all these videos recorded live in front of real people who have an opinion too, and above and beyond mine. Sean Kane is here. Chams, Weesty, Weevil Girl on the wrench. What's up, Weevil Girl? TJ, Chris Milk, Sean Can, Jim Gerard, my brother, is here too. TJ, I said your name 3 times. Justin Falzone, Gothic Harlequin, Suit Cooter, Chris Milk, Wayne. Well, good morning, Wayne, my brother, Wayne. I'm loving Wayne today. Joe Mama. What's up, Joe Mama? Mikkel Sly, hey brother. Mikkel Sly says XX or XY. Pick one. Yep, those are chromosomes. Mad Cow Mark is here, and everybody else is lurking. If I forgot your name, don't take it personal. I'm busy doing the show here. And so there we go. So we got a website every morning at 9 a.m. You if we're not on YouTube, you come here and I'll show you where we are. We're across all these platforms: Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Facebook, Twitter, Getter, Truth Social. You could also make a donation via Zelle to shorthappylife@gmail.com if you want to get off the sidelines and actually assist people. New media, stop talking about it, but actually assist it and elevate it, and that's how you do it, through your contributions, because nothing changes here. The more you give, the more I do. The more you give, the more you get, really. So give more and you'll get more. So let's start right here. Mark Scotty reporting. Searchers detect there's also market action too. What's going on here? It looks like the futures are gonna open down because Fed Chair Powell says that he expects to raise rates again this year. So Wall Street takes a ugly view of that, steps away. He's going to testify today, Jerome Powell. And he's likely to say, he's already leaking out what he's going to say. They're all members expect to raise the interest rate one more time. So the market doesn't like that. The market wants the interest rate to stay the same or go down, start ticking down, an indication that inflation is under control. But markets are reacting right now, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when it opens, because it's not open yet. So there's a banging down below every 30 minutes near where the Titanic submarine vanished. DHS emails confirm that's a potential sign of life. A Canadian airplane aided in the search of the missing Titanic-bound submarine recently detected banging every 30 minutes in the area where the vessel lost radio contact with its surface ship. Details of the potential signs of life aboard. All right, so there's banging going on. Excuse me. So they're right off the coast of Nova Scotia. It's parallel to... yeah, so there it is. The pinging, banging. Look, are they still alive? There's 5 people down there. Right? There's 5 fucking people in the hole. Are they still alive? I think so. Who's banging? Who's doing the banging if they ain't dead? How are they going to get down there, though? That's the problem. You go 18,000. Max depth is 13,000 feet. This is hard to get them out of there, right? 13,000 feet down, possibly, if it's sitting on the bottom. If it's just floating, then it could be higher, but let's just assume that it's a minimum of 12,000 feet down. And they got to get down there, and then they don't even have the equipment to drag it back up. They'd have to, I don't know, maybe hook it with something. Hook it. They'd have to drop down like an anchor and hook it and pull it up with a giant boat or something and get it up fast. I'm going to say that they're all dead. I'm going to say that all 5 are going to die. They're not going to find them. This is wishful thinking. I hate to be a piss on the parade, but hey man, you want to live on the edge. Excuse me. You want to live on the edge. This is what happens. Here's another guy. He's down there. Billionaire Hamish Harding and Shahzad Dawood. They're all down there. Here's the commander. He's the CEO and founder of Ocean Gate. He put the whole thing together. How ironic. He put the whole idea together. Yeah, be a tourist. Let's go see the Titanic. And it turns out that he's going to fucking die next to a bunch of other jackoffs who wanted to go down there and see what? What are you going to see? Why don't you send a fucking camera down there? Why do you got to go down there with your body? Why are you putting your body 13,000 feet below the fucking ocean sea? Why don't you go for a swim and let the remote camera go down there and take a picture for you? Now, I've seen some stunning, amazing photography of the Titanic. And so why do you got to go down there? What more are you going to see? You're only going to be looking out a window anyway. It's not like you're going to get out of the submarine. I don't know, man. Tourism is not, it is, that's what the wreckage looks like down below. They already know what it looks like. They know where it is, the whole deal. All right, so although there is banging reported down below, I'm gonna venture to say that they're all gonna croak. They're all gonna fucking die in that submarine, and we'll find out later. So we know. Here's what we know. CBS reporting on Hunter Biden plea deal. Let's listen to some of the details, and let's find out what happened with Hunter Biden. He took a plea.
The president's son, Hunter Biden, has agreed to a federal plea deal that will likely mean he will not have to go to prison. According to a court filing made public Tuesday by the Justice Department, Biden will plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor tax charges.
Okay.
The agreement will also spare him prosecution on a felony charge of illegally possessing a firearm.
Now, I agree with all that. I think that failure to pay tax. Look, if it wasn't for the media attention, let's be fair. If it wasn't for his father running for president, would there be this case right now? Probably not. Hunter Biden would be, off in a den smoking crack with a hooker painting somewhere, and it would all be forgotten. But his father happens to be the president, and he's running against Trump. And to smear, look, it is political prosecution to some degree. Most people, and not regular people, but rich people, are deeply guilty of tax evasion and shenanigans. But Hunter Biden's got 2 misdemeanor charges. That's not the big issue anyway. The big issue is tax evasion of what? What money where did the money come from? That's the point. Forget about you didn't pay tax on it. That's bullshit. Hey, you didn't pay tax. All right, so pay some tax. And you're not going to go to jail. A misdemeanor. But where did the money come from? That's the bigger issue that clearly CBS, for example, is not talking about. Don't talk about the quid pro quo. Don't talk about the favors. Don't talk about that. So I agree with that. Possession of a handgun by a drug user, felony, that's bullshit. Throw that shit out. Because there's a picture of him with a gun doing drugs. Throw that shit out. That's garbage right there. Right? That's garbage. The right to possess a firearm by a citizen. He's not a criminal. He wasn't a criminal at that point. Smoking crack. He had never been convicted of anything. So I would say throw the gun charge out. He got a sweet deal on the misdemeanors, and there's no talk of quid pro quo. Nothing at all.
Catherine Herridge has more from Washington.
As part of the Hunter Biden plea agreement, 3 charges were filed in a Delaware court. 2 misdemeanor counts of willful failure to pay federal income tax on annual earnings in excess of $1.5 million.
$1.5 million? What? Where did Robert Hunter Biden, a resident of District Columbia, get $1.5 million? Hold on a second. We got to look at the market. How did it open? Ding, we're open. Ding, let's go. And give it to me. All right. A little bit. We're still holding Dow Jones Industrial Average down 140 on the news that nearly all Fed members expect to raise rates again this year. NASDAQ down 36 right now, and the S&P 500 down 14. That's at the open right now. Let's see how it fares leading into the session up till about 10 o'clock. So what am I talking about? I don't know what I'm talking about. What am I talking about? Oh yeah. So 100. Where did Hunter Biden? Where did crackhead Hunter Biden get $1.5 million to evade tax? Isn't that the real question? Yeah, he didn't pay tax, but where did he get the money?
A third count, possession of a handgun by a drug user, would be dismissed if Biden remains drug-free and commits no additional crimes during a specified time period.
I totally agree with that. If a guy is drugged out and he's got a gun in his pocket and he's not really a criminal yet, you might say that he might become a criminal. But is he really? That's a violation of your civil rights. I'm a drug user. What does that mean? What does that mean? So I think he got a sweet. I think that's fair. Drop the gun charge. But where'd the money come from? That's the real issue.
A source familiar with the term said Biden's legal team expects probation, not jail time, though final approval rests with the judge.
I think the judge is going to do what's fair. And I think what's fair is, my client gets on with his life.
David Weiss, the U.S. attorney in Delaware who led the probe, was appointed by then-President Trump and left in place by the Biden administration. In a statement...
So the probe, now the spin, the probe was by a Trump supporter. Right? See how it's all politicized?
Weiss said the investigation is ongoing, but Hunter...
It's not because Hunter Biden and his father were deeply involved in quid pro quo in the Ukraine and Russia, and arguably caused the power vacuum over there to have Russia literally come in and take Ukraine back after the Democrats threw their support to, I guess, Russia. You vilified Ukraine because Trump was talking to Zelensky. You remember the whole scenario? Trump had a conversation with Zelensky, and he asked about Joe Biden, sort of, kind of, and then Trump was impeached. And then Zelensky was vilified, and then Russia took the Ukraine back, put it back in their pocket, and now then the United States gives $1 billion to Ukraine to shoot at the dirty Russians. It all started with these jerk-offs right here, right? All these jerk-offs. Trump was cozy with Ukraine. What the fuck was wrong? There was no problem there. So the problem is a lot deeper than some old man and his crackhead son, You know, they're fucking at the top of government, destabilizing it, putting money in their own pocket, vilifying people.
Hunter Biden's team sees it differently.
My understanding is that we're done.
Traveling in California, President Biden was asked about the news.
I'm very proud of my son.
Hunter Biden spoke about the federal investigation on CBS Sunday Morning.
I'm cooperating completely. And
Yeah.
I'm absolutely certain, 100% certain, that at the end of the investigation, that I will be cleared.
Well,
Hunter Biden is gold right now. Hunter Biden is copying a plea to 2 misdemeanor charges. That there's no jail time. Probation, that's a joke. If he's in New York, he'll get a probation officer that he'll see once a year. He'll visit. Hey Hunter, how you doing? And he said, "Oh yeah, I'm doing fine. I got something for you." And he'll give his probation officer a nice painting signed, "I love you," right? And he'll have no fucking problem. The painting will be worth $100,000. Now Hunter Biden pays his bills with his paintings. A nice fucking caveat, right? Hunter Biden is now, if you haven't heard, Hunter Biden is now part of the art community. Hunter Biden is a cutting edge artist, if you haven't heard. Some of his work is not bad, if he's doing it at all, which we suspect he is. At least I don't think somebody else would be painting for him without, the Soho crowd, the art gallery crowd knowing it. So Hunter Biden's producing some good art. He's now gold. He's got 2 old misdemeanor charges that are going to fade. No felonies. No jail. He's going up. Right? Hunter Biden got out of it. Hunter Biden squeaked out of it. Right. So that's what's going on. What else? Let's listen to more of the details from the Sun.
U.S. President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, has agreed to plead guilty to federal income tax charges in a deal with the Justice Department. That's according to government documents and a statement from Hunter Biden's attorney on Tuesday. It reads, quote, Hunter Biden believes it is important to take responsibility for these mistakes he made during a period of turmoil and addiction in his life.
Snickle Fritz 896 makes a good point. He says that Hunter Biden lied on a contract to possess a gun. That's a federal crime and should go to jail. But what did he lie about? He said, what's the question? The question is, are you a drug abuser? Have you ever done drugs before? Is that really even a firearms question? Should that question even be allowed? When you think about it, okay, so say it is, but then there's the determination of what is a drug addict, what is a drug abuser. You might not agree. It's self-diagnosed if you haven't heard. If you're a drug addict, you're not a drug addict until you confirm in your own mind that this is a problem. So Hunter Biden might not have known that was a problem. So I still give him a pass, but thanks for bringing it up.
He looks forward to continuing his recovery and moving forward. The charges against Hunter Biden arose from an investigation by the U.S. Attorney in the Democratic president's home state of Delaware. That U.S. Attorney was appointed by Republican former President Donald Trump.
I think Hunter Biden is a disgrace. Hunter Biden is getting money from corrupt oligarchs.
Hunter Biden got rich in the Ukraine.
The 53-year-old Hunter Biden has for years been the focus of unrelenting attacks by Trump and his Republican allies.
Yeah, whatever. All right, so Wayne points out, easy way to launder money as art is subjective. I think it is. I think you're right that art is a way to, I don't know if it would be called laundering money. Right? Because it's his art. He's not trafficking in other art. Hunter Biden is the artist, and he's being pumped up by all this. Nobody in the art community cares that you're a criminal making art. They don't give a fuck about that. All they care about is the art. If the art is good, they don't care if you got a fucking, an IV drip of, heroin fucking walking around with it. They don't care. As long as you keep pumping out the art. But it is a pump and dump sort of scenario where Hunter Biden produces a lot of art for pennies. You know, they're worth maybe nothing to maybe $1,000. And as time goes on, as the controversy picks up and the fact that he's the president, that the price of those paintings go up. Does that fall into the category of laundering money? I don't think so, Wayne. I don't think so. I think it's more of a pump and dump scenario, and that's pretty much what all of come on, man, go up, fucking. That's what all art is. All art is pump and dump. Right? Let's listen.
They've accused him of peddling his access to his father when Joe Biden was vice president to win business deals in Ukraine and China.
Joe Biden assured the American people that he had never spoken to his son about his overseas business dealing.
That's the big question right there. Hunter, now, if where did the money come from? There is money, and Hunter Biden just pleaded guilty to not paying tax on the money. Where did the money come from? Right? And you're going to tell me that Joe Biden has no idea that Hunter Biden is just some genius kid who went into the Ukraine and made $1.5 million? No, it's influence fucking peddling, and it goes right to the top. That's the point. That's the point. That's how the Democratic Party works. It's all quid pro quo. It's all bribery. It's selling access to the top. It's selling it.
Both Hunter Biden and his father.
That's the big story here. So it's the fact that Hunter Biden is pleading guilty to tax evasion isn't really. It does reveal that the money is there. You can't escape it. The money he made the money. He didn't pay tax on the money. He tried to hide the fact that he made the money. Where did the money come from?
Denied the accusations of corruption. According to the deal, the president's son also entered a pretrial diversion agreement on one firearm offense. Hunter Biden has worked as a lobbyist, a lawyer, an investment banker, and an artist, and has publicly detailed his struggles with substance abuse.
Now, Mikkel Sly, you bring up a great point. Instead of asking people if they do drugs before they buy a gun, you should tell people you cannot be under the influence of any kind when operating a gun. Now, I agree with that. Totally agree. When you drive a car, if you have a drug problem, you can't drive a car. When you go to motor vehicle, you have a history of drug abuse. You can't drive. That's fucked up. But if you're driving and you get pulled over and you're not under the influence of anything, same laws apply to you. What's the big deal? I think the same is true. If you're driving and you kill somebody, you're fucking going to jail for the rest of your life. Now, if you're in a heated conflict with somebody, this is interesting. If you're in a heated conflict with somebody, or somebody tries to kill you, or kill you, literally crawling through your window, and you're sitting there drinking a bottle of vodka, and somebody's crawling through your window, and you shoot him and kill him, are you and found to be drunk? Are you guilty of something? You're not allowed to protect yourself because you're drunk. Right. Think about that. Right. I don't know. I thought I agreed, but operating a gun while under the influence. I don't know. Sometimes people are under the influence, and what does that mean? Are they incapacitated under the influence where they have a beer? What happens if you had a beer and you walk out to the parking lot and somebody tries to kill you and you shoot them first? Then what? Right. Then what? So it's interesting. It's an interesting case. So let's listen to Kevin McCarthy spin. A little Kevin McCarthy spin.
Can we talk a little bit about the Hunter Biden plea deal and your reaction?
My first reaction is it continues to show the two-tier system in America. If you are the president's leading political opponent, the DOJ tries to literally put you in jail and give you prison time. If you are the president's son, you get a sweetheart deal. Now, this does nothing to our investigation. It actually...
Kevin McCarthy saying that the president's son is got a sweetheart deal, but it's not changing anything. So he's going out. They're continuing. It's not changing anything. We're still going after them.
Should enhance our investigations because the DOJ should not be able to withhold any information now, saying that because of pending investigation, they should be able to provide Chairman Comer with any information that he requires.
See, they want to know where the money came from. That's all the Republicans are asking. Where did the money come from, and why did Hunter Biden get all this money? See, that's the real investigation. And the DOJ and Biden's are fudging it to say, oh, a little tax evasion. It's not so bad. Look at Trump. He's got 35 of them.
But Mr. Speaker, this is a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney that was held over into this administration. Why won't you accept
It's done.
this is a thorough investigation and to...
So fake media is saying, oh, it was since the judge is a Trumper, the investigation is by a Trumper, then therefore it's invalid.
just accept it on its merits, given
politics.
The person who investigated.
It was a thorough investigation.
I'm asking you.
But I'm asking you. So you believe it's a thorough investigation?
I'm asking you.
Do you think it's equal and fair that a political opponent is going to be given jail time, but a presidential son, and if you compare this to other individuals in America that have these same accusations against them, the same crimes that they have been guilty of, that they were proposed to have 10 years another time period, I think that's a difference in justice.
Speaker McCarthy. I think McCarthy's kind of right about that. I think when you evade paying tax on $1.5 million, there should be some sort of more than a slap on the wrist. That's a lot of money. That's not like average Joe evading, who makes $25,000 a year and forgot to file his taxes. That guy's squeaking by. He could barely eat. U.S. government generally doesn't go after people like that. Anybody under $100,000. If you know anybody who makes less than $100,000, who has ever been brought up on charges of tax evasion, raise your hand. Because I don't know of any. I don't know of a single person in the average, income bracket that's ever had any problem like that. If they get audited, they can get sanctioned. You can, have properties seized, passports taken away, I've heard, but never jail. Never, thrown in jail for that. So $1.5 million is different than the average Joe. That's a guy that's a lot of money, right? He's evading taxes so that he has more of the money in his pocket. It's not the difference between the poor person who's deciding to eat or pay tax. And I think the government understands that. That's why they go after the wealthier guys. So Kevin McCarthy is correct in saying that. In this income bracket and influence bracket, Hunter Biden should have gotten a lot more than he got. I think I would agree with that.
Trump attorney. What about the fact there's a Trump attorney?
Speaker McCarthy, you said.
So there is. Who cares about the Trump attorney? So let's talk about this kid. I digressed a bit, but Kayla Lovedale. Right, Lovedale, right, here she is. Very, very sad story. I think I talked a lot about it in the beginning. Is a story of a young girl who's online, right? She's online and she's somewhere visiting a tranny site. Hold on a second before I talk about this. Come on, man, go up, motherfucker. Stocks are going down right now. Let's take a look at them. Let's take a look at this. I just got to look at something. I got to look at something. I'm in. I still think we go higher from here. So we touched down a little touchdown. Where are we right now? On the Nasdaq? Looking at the Nasdaq. All right. So we're at the bottom of the barrel right now, and. So that's the Nasdaq right there. It looks like it wants to bang off the 200-day moving average, and no sign of a total breakdown. Just a little bit of a pullback this morning. I don't know. It's not a crash. It's just some panic selling, and we'll see what happens at 10:30. I think it goes back up. So Lovedale has already transitioned and detransitioned at 18 years old. And now she's taking her doctors to court. So there she is. In my view, looks like a girl, has the characteristics of a female. I think we are still able to see that as humans. We can look and say male, female. We don't have to look much further than the mannerisms and the vibe. Right? You can't escape the vibe. Right? I've never met a tranny, a transsexual, a guy acting like a girl. I've never seen it convincing enough for me to believe it's a girl. Even in Thailand, where they have the lady boys running around, sometimes you just don't know. But and you walk up and you're talking to somebody who appears to be a very attractive woman, and then within a half a minute, we have that radar. Right? See, I think a lot of people have gaydar, and we have the ability to see a sex, right? And I'm standing in front of this attractive woman, and within 30 seconds, I realize I'm standing in front of a man. Right? We have that ability. We still have that ability as humans. And I look at this picture and I say, yeah, if it's a real picture, it's a female. Yeah. But so she filed a lawsuit in California State Court. Miss Lovett first decided she was a boy at age 11 after learning about the transgender community online. Oh yeah. So you're there's the kid surfing online, learning a little about the trannies, right? That's grooming. That is grooming. Why are you fucking dragging? Who's running the site? Who's running the site with 11-year-olds talking about tranny shit? Right? Is that the medical profession? Oh, they'll come here and talk about it. You need to talk about how you feel inside. Inside, you feel like a boy because you are, and we can help you become the boy that you were meant to be. Right? They start here and talk like that. According to her lawsuit in California court, Kayla first decided she was a boy. By 12, she alleges she was prescribed puberty blockers and testosterone by doctors who failed to provide sufficient psychological screening and who told her parents, quote, "It's better to have a live son than a dead daughter." Ooh. That statement alone is damning devastating. You tell a parent, you're basically telling the fucking patient, the parent of the patient, that you better let this happen or your daughter's gonna die. It's brutal, right? Brutal fucking treatment, right? And by 17, she realized it was all a mistake and that the professionals around her had failed to protect her. So the hardest part was being sold something that I believed was going to help me and make me feel better, only to do it and come out the other side not feeling any better, says Miss Lovett. I could always have waited. But I can't undo it. You're damn right, man. You're damn right. Look, even if a young girl wants to act like a boy, there's no harm in that. It's we're talking about medical professionals grooming kids and then using all of their fucking witchcraft on the kid to the tune of $20,000 in mutilation charges to mutilate the fucking breasts, mutilate the genitalia, inject the body with testosterone to push it in a different direction. Body's saying, what the fuck is going on, man? Body's like, why are you cutting us? We love you. Stop cutting us. Stop chopping off all of our parts. All right. Stop that stuff. All right. So here's the boy. Here. Oh, look, he's even got a little bit of a mustache going on. That must have took a high fucking dose of testosterone to get a woman to start growing facial hair. A female. Here she is after her breasts were severed, laying in a hospital bed now, feeling this is going to make you feel better. A totally unnecessary surgery to go in and chop off your breasts because you think that somewhere deep inside of you at 12 years old, 11 years old, that there's a boy. And you're going to manifest that boy. So Kaiser Permenta, here's the lawsuit. So I think this becomes Supreme Court material. Supreme Court of the state of California. So if they fail here, I think that there's the Supreme Court of the state of California. I think the next step is federal court. I think it has to be a federal case, maybe. I'm not really sure how that works. But there might be one more suit that she has to lose before she gets to the Supreme Court. All right, so the lawsuit is, I think it's classic. Lovedale, I said love it. Lovedale, that's her name. Lovedale versus Kaiser Foundation Hospitals. Lovedale versus Kaiser Foundation Hospitals. I cannot see the Supreme Court not going along with the kid in this case. I cannot see it. Based on who's there, you'll have the three holdouts, the three liberal judges that'll hold out. But essentially, this will be placed into law that you got to stop mutilating kids. There is no medical transition of a child. It isn't ethical. It isn't real. It is deeply, deeply harming to the child. It is a form of sexual grooming. It's precisely, you're in there chopping up the kids' gonads, cutting off their breasts for money. Right? That's way worse than, I don't know, I think it's in the same category of fucking Jeffrey Epstein getting a 17-year-old to pull his pud, or pulling his pud in front of a 17-year-old. I think the 17-year-old is in a better place having to have watched Jeffrey Epstein jerk off, right, than the medical profession chopping off their breasts and genitalia and telling them that they're a boy. Right? I think so. I think that's far more grooming. I think what the medical profession is doing is way more profound than anything what's her name? The Epstein's fucking right hand girl. I forgot her name. The woman sitting in jail right now. Fucking Jeffrey Epstein's partner in crime. I think what medical is doing is way worse. Here she is. Let's look at her in her own.
Help me and make me feel better, only to do all of it, and come out on the other side not feeling any better. I can't ever undo it. I could have always waited, but
she has a bit of a masculine voice. Maybe that was her problem. But some men think a woman who talks like this is very sexy. It's not necessarily that you're a boy. It's just that you got a voice like this, and some men like that. You can't even talk about men and women at this point. These are children. We're talking about children. She's now 17, but we're talking about something at 11 years old and 12 years old.
Can't undo it now that I did it.
Jesleen Maxwell, thank you, John Triggs. Jesleen Maxwell is Epstein's partner, sitting in jail for grooming kids. Not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying if you compare the two, what happened to those girls? They went on, lived their lives out. Right? They were a bunch of gold digger kids that somehow ended up on the island, in my view, so sort of, kind of manipulative 16, 17-year-old kids that get on the boat and plane and, but what the medical profession is doing is far worse, I think.
I began transitioning at 12 years old. 12 years old when I started Lupron and testosterone, and
so the kid's been jacked up with a couple of drugs, namely testosterone. That could be the cause of unless they probably shot it right into her throat.
It was only a month after my 13th birthday that I had a double mastectomy. I was in a place.
A double mastectomy at 13 years old. A double mastectomy, chopping off both breasts at 13. Sounds reasonable. Thank you, medical profession, for your assistance.
I made those decisions where I did not have my comorbidities under control, and that just shouldn't be how it is when you make these types of decisions. there's just a lot that goes into making such life-changing choices that it's almost under duress when you have all these comorbidities stacked up in these issues.
Yeah.
I came across Chloe Cole's case one night while trying to research and Google where my doctors are now and if they're still practicing. And I saw the active sue letter in her law.
So all of the doctors are still in business. She read I guess she read a friend's. She's piggybacking a friend's lawsuit.
I'm actively suing Kaiser Permanente.
I am actively suing Kaiser. So there you are. There you see her. I don't want to get too far into it, but there's the expense. Paying for transgender surgery. What's the motive? $25,000 and up for breast surgery. All right, from 7 to 10 for facial body stuff, right? So in this country, I don't think the gonads. Let's. I'm trying to figure out how much it costs for patients not covered by health insurance. Wow, health insurance covers this shit. Oh my God, that's why they're making so much money. The insurance companies are picking up the tab for this shit. That's why the premiums go up. For patients not covered by health insurance, the typical cost of a sex reassignment surgery can range from $15,000 for just reconstruction of the genitalia to about $25,000 operation on genitalia and chest to $50,000 that includes face. So we're talking about, if it's just breasts, $15,000. If they do the whole thing, another 10. They chop off your fucking. They reconstruct your vagina into a penis. And if you want your face reconstructed, like bones fucking removed or added to make you look like the other sex, as if people are going to be fooled by that, then it's up to $50,000. So heavy fee. Heavy fees. Whoa, we're taking a dive here. Whoa, we are taking a dive. What happened? Interest rates are going. Interest rates. The interest rate. Oh, man. So Mark's Conte reporting on the down market right now. Not enjoying that. NASDAQ down 135 right now. You got to suck it up, man. Got to suck it up. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Dow Jones Industrial Average down 33.8. And what's the big board doing on this news that the Fed, nearly all Fed members are expected to agree to raise interest rates? Yeah, the market's not liking it. Dow is down $1.50. Apple down 97 cents. Amazon down 50 cents. Google down $1.91. Meta, formerly Facebook, down $3.94. Microsoft down $4.21. Good job, Jerome Powell. Good job. Broadcast that rate hike, you jerk off. Anyway, Mark Scott reporting. Thank you all for joining me, and see you tomorrow, man. I don't know, man. Be who you are. Be who you are, children. Great children of this world, great children of America. Be proud of who you are. Don't let anybody tell you you're a different sex. Don't get trapped down a rabbit hole online. Bunch of tranny fucking groomers. Be who you are. Stop the medical attack on children. It's happening. It's happening. It's real. It's real. It's there. We see it. There's no other way to explain it. So Hunter Biden gets a pass. Whatever. Powerful people will always get a pass. But that kid who got her breasts chopped off, she doesn't get any pass. She's fucked. She is fucked. Marcus Conte reporting.